Hey, DK Prepper here. You know, food prices are going up, and they're not going to stop. Anything not tied to credit is inflation. So, having your yard produce food for you, regardless of your yard size, is not a bad idea. And if food gets really, really, really expensive, which it just might, you're going to want to have all the hedges on your food costs that you can. So, what I did a few years ago on my backyard is I was giving it some thought, and I had mostly lawn back there, and I knew I wanted a pretty good sized garden, so I started tilling and composting everything I could in the garden and got a pretty good sized garden. But I still had a lot of lawn back there, and I would sit back there and wonder, how am I going to get this space to produce the maximum amount of food for me? So after some thought, I thought, well, I'd like to be a little bit lazier than I have to be, and I know gardening is a tough chore to go out there and rototill before and after, and replant and compost it, weed it. I wanted something that I could do that wasn't going to be so much work, a little bit less labor intensive for me. So what I went ahead and did is gridded out my entire backyard with 20-foot dots on a little sketch on a piece of paper, and completely filled it in with fruit trees of different varieties. Now, the reason I picked fruit trees, and this is your food for thought video, is not only because I thought it was going to be a little bit easier. Now, mind you, I'm not a fruit grower. This is all new to me, and I'm going to get much more in depth on that here very soon. But because I wanted to know that 365 days a year, my stuff's growing, and I'm not really doing much to help that process, unlike a vegetable garden. And I know that fruit trees, I chose all semi-dwarf, so 15 to 20 foot tall fruit trees, is obviously going to give me more food than whatever a vegetable garden space could give me per year because of their size. Don't know if that's true or not, but at the time I kind of believed it. I think it might be true. And I love fruits and I like vegetables. So that kind of made the choice for me. In addition to that, if I really needed to maximize the space in my completely fenced backyard, which I know most people have, most homeowners have a fenced backyard, and I don't care about the size here. If things got really bad in this economy, I thought, I could just chicken wire this fence, completely run chickens through it, and no city codes are going to be on my butt if things are really, really bad, because everybody's going to be doing the same things. They could keep the ground fertilized, run around in my fruit orchard, eat up and peck out all the fruits that were bad that dropped, and make my help fertilization process and somewhat of an ecosystem there. Minimize the work for me, maximize my food, chickens and fruit. And in addition to that, I still would have my garden, and I would use that space to do two chores in one, chickens and fruit. Now, in addition to that, on the low lying areas, if you have enough sun, you could run some strawberries or blueberries or something that isn't going to take up the space of your yard, above 10 feet. So you could really maximize your yard that way. I also thought of maybe making a potato bed in the areas that don't get any sun. That way, you could also maximize that space. So the idea is, if you map out your yard and you want to maximize your growing space of your backyard, and I choose the backyard because of the fact that it's more secure than a front yard in most cases. Maximize the growing space of your backyard could help you hedge your food costs in the future. And I don't think food costs are going to get any cheaper. I think they're going to get much more expensive. The idea of hedging that is best done preventatively, that means now, than waiting for the time when you need it right now, because you never know what's going to happen. So, with that being said, I'd like to just kind of pause a little bit and go on to a different subject. The other day, my buddy called me, and he said, "Hey, have you seen that End of America commercial on TV? They're running it like crazy, and I didn't know they were running it on TV." So I had heard of it, but I didn't know. I thought it was radio, and I saw it on television for the first time. Went and checked it out. It's a video about a guy, I think his name is Porter Stansberry or something like that, who takes a lot of information that everybody should already know via research on the internet, and he puts it together to scare people into paying money for one of his document collections of research that he's put together. Pretty good idea. Probably going to make a lot of money. I'm sure he's making good money off of it, because so many people will only believe what the television tells them, and they have no idea what's going on. So all these people are buying this document sets. He tells you what most of them are, gold and silver and things like that. Towards the end, he wants to charge you money to go somewhere to buy his last document. It looks pretty obvious that his last document is and if you haven't watched it, you need to watch it to really understand what I'm talking about here. The last document he tries to sell you looks like it's food and water based off of farmland. So he wants to tell you that that's the one thing that will protect you, and historically has saved many successful people. But if that's true, why not turn the little property you have into an area that will maximize food production for you? I'd been working on this project for a long time. I had to, over the last 2 years, I got rid of all my decorative plants back there. I didn't care what the wifey said. I said, backyard's mine. You can do what you want to the front yard. And I just finished getting down an absolutely monstrous fir tree that basically encompassed my yard with shade. I'd only been able to plant half of it with fruit trees, and I did that last year. I finally got it out and finished my fruit tree orchard in the backyard, and I'm really happy about it. Since I'm not a big fruit grower, and this is only my second year, I did, however, buy nursery plants, so they're already about 12 feet tall, so they're starting to produce a little bit. They'll really be producing in the next year or two, hopefully. I've been researching about what I need to do to them. So what I've done is, and this is the main point of this video, is I put together a list of what I think needs to be done that I'm going to post in the garage so I don't forget. Now, since I am a novice fruit grower, the purpose of this video is not only to try to give you some idea of what you might do for your backyard, but ask those of you who really know what you're doing in the fruit industry if this sounds right. And here's what I've got as a list that I'm going to print out and put in my garage so I can just do it every season. Oh, and my fruit trees include mostly apples. I got a few cherry trees. I got a few plum trees. I've got a few peach trees, and I've got Asian pears, mostly apples, and Fuji, Red Delicious, Gala, Brabbaum, or whatever they are. Quite an array. Here's what I've got. In the winter, here's what I need to do. And I don't know if this is right, so if I'm wrong, can you please just correct me? Here's what I think I need to do in the winter. Prune dead leaves, spray dormant oil, and then again in February. So twice dormant oil sprays in the winter. Spring, what I need to do is spray for pests, watch for leaf eaters, and spray the copper during a dry spell. Summer, I need to keep them really watered because it gets so dry here, and the rest of the seasons there's plenty of water. Fertilize in the summer. Remove all the dropped leaves and fruit from the base for disease purposes, and spray cherries and peaches weekly with a water soluble sulfur spray. Then in fall, spray dormant oil again, and spray copper. And that's what I have. Does that sound reasonable to you? So if you could please just let me know what I did wrong there. I'd like to just put this list in my garage and not give it a lot of thought, get the project done, let my stuff grow, and do my own thing. Other than gardening, it's not my favorite thing. I just want food production. That would be awesome if you could do that. Okay, one other thing that I wanted to do here is I wanted to thank Southern Prepper One because of the fact that this video that he did got me prompted to, and I have a similar situation here now. This video by Southern Prepper One where he says, throw some strawberries in your yard. I like that. I went ahead and did it, and I made a box real similar to his. Mine's an L shape, however, and I probably planted strawberries in my L-shaped box about as dense as he shows there. By the end of summer, well, it's not even the end of summer, the thing is just completely, you can't even see the ground. It's growing over the edges. I need to take a weed whacker to it. It is just going crazy. But the fact that I love strawberries prompted me to do this, and it worked pretty good. So thanks, Southern Prepper One. I now a proud owner of a strawberry box. Similar to yours, and the only problem is I ate all of them as they came up. I don't have any to freeze because I was eating like a little box of strawberries every day. Loved it. I need to get more if I'm going to be able to freeze them because I eat them too fast. This raised garden bed is a great idea to do where you have to saw down a big tree. If you've got a stump in your yard because you're terraforming your yard to grow, just build a little raised garden base right over top of that stump, fill it in with soil, good soil, and it'll look pretty, and your stump will decompose faster, and plus you got now strawberries on it rather than some other crap like a Japanese maple that I had to destroy. It was monstrous, and a bunch of other things that I don't like, plants that won't produce food for me. I'm just that way. So that was a pretty fast video. Hopefully you got some ideas for growing things in your backyard, maybe even your front yard, if it's secure enough for kids walking by and or even adults walking by, munching on your crops. I say grow it. I say turn it all into things that'll grow, and get rid of those pretty ridiculous ornamental plants that occupy most of the houses around everywhere. Okay, DQ Prepper out.